Hello, everybody. My name is Mark, and I'm your customer education manager here at Iconosquare. And today, our focus is all on reach and impressions. We're going to go through a little explanation of each metric, and then we'll address a question we get pretty often, which is why you might see different numbers from the Iconosquare side to what you might see from the Meta side. Now, if we're talking about the very top of the marketing funnel, it's generally about building brand awareness, whether that's going to be through paid or organic efforts. When it comes to measuring that, two of the most important metrics for you are going to be reach and impressions. Reach is how many people have seen your post, whereas impressions are the number of times the post has been seen. But let's break it down a little bit further. Reach is defined by Meta as the number of people who saw your content at least once. So every time a piece of content is shown to me on my feed for the first time, I become somebody that was reached, thus counted numerically as one. Impressions are defined by Meta as the number of times your content was on screen. So we can say that if I saw this post for the first time yesterday and I saw it twice, then that would be one reach and two impressions. And that's common between ourselves and Meta. Where the difference comes into play is that our API is refreshing this data on a 24-hour cycle, whereas Meta usually run on a 7 to 28-day cycle. So let's imagine that I see this post twice again today. The Iconosquare data would show two reach, one for yesterday and one for today. And then four impressions. So two impressions yesterday and two impressions today. What Meta would show would be one reach, but four impressions. These slightly different ways of making the calculation don't tend to make a big difference when we're talking about organic content, because most likely the algorithm isn't going to share this post with the same person multiple days in a row. Whereas for sponsored posts and ads, you are expecting your content to be seen multiple times by the same person. So if we look at this organic Iconosquare post through the Meta system, you can see the statistics are exactly the same as what we see on the Iconosquare platform, which is ideal. The other place you might see some differences is in the page overview section, which is combining the reach and impressions for all your content within a certain time period. From our side, we're combining that repeated 24-hour data cycle we mentioned earlier to get an overall calculation. Whereas from Meta, you can see here that this metric is estimated, which they define as being derived through statistical sampling or modeling rather than a straight count, usually because the data could be difficult or take a large amount of data to calculate. So, what would be more important, reach or impressions? Well, if your goal is to get your content to as many people as possible, then you're probably best paying attention to reach more. But if memorable content is your goal, then impressions might be more for you, as people are going to be looking at your content multiple times. So what are good reach and impression numbers? Well, sadly, there's no magic formula for determining if your numbers are good. If you're not seeing the results that you want from your posts or indeed your advertising efforts, then usually something's going to need to change. For organic content, it's a question of creative and copy. Have a look through your back catalogue and see what worked best, or maybe take some inspiration from what others are doing in a similar sphere. Is there maybe a trend that you can take advantage of? For paid content, it is a little bit more complex, and the best places to start are by looking at your audience and your targeting. Firstly, are your posts reaching the sort of people that you want them to reach? Is your audience size too small or maybe even too broad? Check on your frequency and check on your cost per results for that. And whilst reach and impressions are one of the key indicators, you would also need to address the symptoms as well. I do hope you've enjoyed this video and see you again soon.